Welcome to Western Trading Post TV. You know, each and every week here at the Post, it seems like we just get busier and busier. This week, we have had an incredible collection of old Western movie memorabilia come walking through the doors. Yes, I'm talking about like John Wayne, Roy Rogers, Gene Autry. Then we've had a collection of Kachinas come in that we will be learning about and following through the auction. We'll also be following some other cool items through the auction. Then we're heading out to pick up a substantial antique saddle collection and see how a veteran keeps his promise to a dear friend. So saddle up and enjoy the ride.
Hey, Rowdy.
Mr. Larry, as I live and breathe. How you doing?
Good, how's it going?
It's going good. What brings you down?
Your mom and dad around?
For $5 they might be.
I only have $4.28, but we'll see if we can
I
make
suppose
it
it'll work.
Wow, Larry, look at all this great movie memorabilia stuff you brought us. What are we doing here?
This is awesome.
I hope you guys like it. I thought it might be good for the auction and give some other people a chance to own some of this great stuff.
Wow, you have some amazing pieces.
Yeah, I've been collecting for a long time. I started collecting in 1979, right after John Wayne passed away. My wife took me into a store in Century City in Los Angeles, which is where we lived, and they sold movie posters and lobby cards. And I never knew you could buy them, you know.
Yeah, no, that is a great one.
And the first poster, lobby card I bought was from the Alamo, John Wayne the Alamo. And lobby cards come in a set of 8, normally. And the neat thing about the lobby card I bought, and I didn't even know it at the time, is out of the set of 8, there's only 1 or 2 really good ones of John Wayne, and I got one of the 2.
Wow.
You know, so it's really interesting. A lot of them come with a title card, which is like that Gene Autry one over there. That's a title card that has all the credits.
Now, when you first started collecting, did you realize what a great investment this was going to be?
No, I just did it for the love.
Yeah.
You know, I started collecting John Wayne at first, and then Elvis, you know, because I was doing music. And then I branched out. I started collecting swashbucklers, Errol Flynn stuff, and Marilyn Monroe stuff, and you know, just a little bit of everything. Then I got into the classics, Gone with the Wind, and Wizard of Oz, and those type of things.
Well, as Jim picked up this Red River one, I mean, John Wayne had so many ties in this area, didn't he, Jim?
He sure did. Actually, just west of town here, there's a place called Red River Ranch, which belonged to John Wayne. It's about 17,000 acres.
Wow.
They had a farm and feedlot there, him and another partner. And what's cool about that is we actually live on part of that today, so we have some ties there to John Wayne in the area.
You know, and it's so fun to visit with different business owners, farm workers that worked on the farm, and they all had the greatest praises for John Wayne.
Yeah.
I mean, they just said he was such a down-to-earth guy. He would climb on the tractors with the workers and just ride around with them. I mean, he was fun-loving, down-to-earth, and that makes you fall in love with him even more.
Yeah.
Well, it's so exciting to have these, huh?
I'm excited. I'm pumped about it. We're going to put this in the auction, right?
You got it.
Okay.
We are here on location with Don Zay. Don, You are going through something that is so difficult. I'm sorry for your loss of your father.
Thank you.
I know you absolutely loved and adored him. And now you are having to take care of the estate and home items that he has cherished and collected for most of his life. Tell us about that.
All of my life.
All of your life.
All I remember is he had a room in our home in Chicago, and it was decorated with saddles and boots and hats and everything you can imagine from the West and the U.S. Cavalry. He was pretty big into that too. He appreciated our service very much.
As we all should.
As we all should. I was very fortunate. You know, my mother and my dad were part of a gun club, so they used to skeet shoot. My mom was pretty good. My dad was very good. He was a hunter. He did everything cowboys did.
He absolutely lived and loved the Western lifestyle,
Sure
didn't he?
did. He sure did.
And tell me one of your fondest memories.
My fondest memory is when my grandparents, my dad's mom and dad, passed away. That was in 1976. He came to me and said, Grandma and Grandpa left you some money, and what do you want to do with it? I was 12. And I said, I want to go to the Dude Ranch. He had already put me on horses, and I had all the gear, and I was doing shows and everything. And they sent me to Cody, Wyoming. I was there for a month. I turned 13 there. And it was amazing. I can close my eyes and relive the whole thing. It's that clear in my head. And now even more so. But I spent the month there. I had my own horse for a whole month, and I had the boots, and it was amazing. It was absolutely one of the most incredible experiences of my life. Turned 13, my mom and dad came and picked me up, and we went on a 3-week vacation after that. And where did we go? West. We always went west.
Because of his love and passion for the Western lifestyle.
You know, people ask, what are you going to do with your dad's ashes? And my dad wants to be on where Custer had his in Montana. So my son and I are going to take my dad there. And speaking of my son, as soon as he could walk, he fit him for a pair of boots.
I love it.
So.
Now, is there something that you can tell others that would kind of help them go through this? Because this is absolutely overwhelming. You walked in the home, and as you can tell, I mean, it's piled high with not just 1 or 2, but 30 or 40 or 70 or hundreds of items.
I think the most blessed thing that's happened is there are so many other collectors out there that are able to appreciate this. I don't appreciate what my father has here. I appreciate him for having the love of it, but it's not something that I don't understand it.
A lot of it, maybe not, but you still have saved those cherished pieces.
I have those.
That you and he went
he's got
and
his name
together.
on a lot of things. We have lots of pictures. But I think that they should be given to people that appreciate them and will use them and collect them, or maybe even museums. I mean, there's so much that our generation now doesn't know about, and it's in this room.
It is. And Dawn, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for entrusting us to come into your father's home, to get some of these items, to find the perfect home for your father's cherished collectibles. We will do our very best. And I just want to tell you guys, life is short. Go and tell him how much you love him now. Tell him how much you appreciate him.
Validate.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely validate your family.
God bless you, Dawn.
Thank you. God bless you, sweetie.
Jim, thank you so much for inviting us up here to look at this collection. I know it was a dear friend of yours, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was a friend of mine that I've known for 45 years. Bought a lot of stuff from him through the years.
Well, and you kept a promise, didn't you?
That's correct. He came down sick here a few months ago, and I promised him at that time that I would do everything I could to help Dawn, his daughter, take care of everything, make sure that she gets what she deserves.
Help guide her through the process, because this is so difficult.
And so she was overwhelmed, and I can understand. I was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
There's so many neat things. So we're getting close to the end.
Well, there's a bunch of old high backs in this collection.
Oh, it's a great, one of the best collections of saddles I've seen in a long time. You got just about every make of saddle, good cowboy saddles, and these are all good saddles.
Yeah, I see some R.T. Frasers here. Minya there, and a
Heiser.
yeah, Heiser.
There's several different
All of them, yeah.
saddles.
Some McClellans, lots of old McClellans, aren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. This one though, it caught my eye.
This is R.T. Fraser from Pueblo, Colorado. I'd say it's probably anywhere from 1890s into 1930s, but it's probably the best one I've ever seen.
Yeah,
mean,
I agree with you.
All of this hand tooling, and Fraser saddle was known for its strength and everything, and this is, if anybody wanted one good saddle, this would be the saddle to have.
Yeah, that's definitely top of the line old saddle right there.
Well, thank you so much for your service. And it doesn't surprise any of us that a veteran is keeping his word to one of his best friends. Thank you so much, Jim.
Well, thank you too. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys coming out here.
All right, Pops. As we're messing around with this absolutely superb collection of saddles, I had a question on my mind.
Okay, what is that?
How old are these saddles?
You know, most of these saddles we picked up the other day are from the late 18 and real early 1900s.
It's pretty old.
Pretty old.
When did saddles start again?
You know, I wasn't there personally, but there's recorded history that shows that saddles or saddle-like apparatuses have been around since 700 BC.
700 BC?
Yeah, 700 BC.
Do they look kind of like this?
No, this Western style of saddle is a fairly modern an adaptation. It's probably only been around for 150 years ago.
Okay.
Something like that. You know, just like most things in America, it was heavily borrowed on from another culture and then adapted to be our own. The Mexican vaqueros were riding saddles with saddle horns and tending to stock in the Southwest when the American cowboys came into the area in about the mid-1800s. And you know, the cowboys, of course, took the Mexican vaqueros saddles and adapted them into their own thing. Before long, you had, you know, these good old high back saddles from the late 1800s, like what we see here.
Hey Jim.
Hey Tom, how's it going today?
Long time no see.
Yeah, you brought in some Kachinas.
Yeah, I don't know if they have any value, so I was in the neighborhood. I thought I'd just come by and ask you about them. Maybe you can tell me something about them.
Take a look here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so real quick, what you got here, these are Route 66 style Kachinas. They've got that tall tableta on them. This is how the tourist Kachinas actually started out, was with the Route 66 Kachinas, probably back in the 40s. These are not cottonwood root, so these are a little bit later and probably something, I don't know, maybe a Navajo made versus a Hopi or something like that.
Okay.
And then these guys here, you know, they're Navajo made. They've got the fur and the feathers, and you know, they're just maybe a little bit more, not mass produced, but you know, not the care taken to make them that some of the Hopi Kachinas or some of the Pueblo Kachinas would have.
These are more for commercial?
Exactly,
sale?
they're more commercial sale. Like you'll see these along, you know, in the tourist shops and things like that quite a bit. And as you know, you're a collector. Anything made for the tourist is not really collectible. This guy here, I would go with Zuni. Again, it's not cottonwood root. You can tell when you pick it up. It's a heavier wood, probably a pine.
Okay.
And so definitely Zuni. The Zuni Kachinas can have some value. Any of the Pueblo Kachinas, including Hopi, can have value. This guy, to me though, you know, he just seems a little bit more like, you know, maybe a first Kachina or somebody who hasn't been carving long. I don't know. So here in our auction, just real quick, as an example.
Wow.
Now this is a Zuni Kachina. This is kind of what we look for. It's got a little age on it. You know, he's well made. Look at the hand painted kilt. I mean, that's a nice little Zuni kachina that you know, we would like to take in. You know, and then as far as the Hopis go, this is a contemporary kachina right here, but you know, well-known artist. Everything is handmade. It's cottonwood root. Feel how light that is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's cottonwood root. In this particular instance, all of the paint is handmade paint from natural pigments. So, you know, this is kind of more what we're looking for the auction versus the kind of touristy ones. So I appreciate you bringing them in, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to send them back with you.
That's okay. I appreciate it.
But thanks for bringing the other stuff in. I hope it does well for you in the auction.
I hope so too.
Okay, thanks.
Right. Thanks,
Tom.
Jim.
Yeah. Here at Western Trading Post, we often get some old items come through our auctions, but these pre-Columbian statues take the cake. These guys date back to around the time of the birth of Jesus Christ. Yes, that's right around the year 0. These pre-Columbian statues would have been several hundred years old when the Spaniards arrived in what is now Mexico. I'm excited to see how they do in the auction.
We are so excited about this month's auction. There are 10 spectacular squash blossom necklaces that we will be following through the auction. I mean, this is like total squash-a-rama going on. Look at this spectacular vintage sterling silver, coral, turquoise, and claw squash blossom necklace. I mean, it is like so cool, unique, and probably one of a kind. Then we will be following a couple of more that came through the doors from a third-generation collector. I mean, this is going to be such an exciting auction. You're watching Western Trading Post TV on the Cowboy Channel. It's auction day today here at Western Trading Post. The doors have just opened up and the excitement is getting ready to start. We are here with Roxanne, who is a middle school teacher in the area and an avid collector of several things. Roxanne, what do you collect?
I love to collect his Americana especially. So old Americana, coins, collectibles, but definitely things made in America. I'm very into Americana.
And do you share this with your students in class?
Yes, I do. Yes, I talk about this Western Trading Post with my students all the time. I talked with Jim yesterday about maybe bringing him for a field trip next year.
That would be exciting, wouldn't it? Because we definitely want to get our youth involved in our rich Western, Native American, and Americana history, don't we?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's my first love.
And we are here with two auction junkies, auction goers, regulars here at the auction, Jerry and Cindy. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I know you guys have been coming to our auctions for several years and are big collectors. What do you collect, Jerry?
Native American items and actually antique firearms.
And Cindy?
I mainly like the jewelry, but love your pottery and rug selection too.
And do you guys have your eye on a few items here in the auction today?
Yes, the Roy Rogers lampshade from my childhood, and I also like the buffalo robe.
Ooh, and Cindy?
Couple pieces of jewelry, bracelets, and a few of the rugs have caught my eye.
We are here with John, and this is his first time being here at Western Trading Post and for one of our auctions. Now, John, you said that you have been watching our show on the Cowboy Channel. Is that correct?
Yes, we have. Yeah, we've been watching it and enjoyed it and thought we'd come down and check out your place here. You have an incredible store here.
Well, and we all are so honored and blessed that you could come in here and just be a part of the Western Trading Post family, because I know you are an avid collector. What are some of the things that you collect?
Well, we have some Navajo rugs and quite a bit of jewelry and some bronzes, some paintings, things like that.
And do you have your eye on anything in the auction today?
Well, we actually just walked in. We're just starting to check it out, so it looks like you got some nice items.
Well, we better let John get back to looking at the auction, and we're getting ready to get started now. John, thank you so much for being here today.
It's a pleasure.
1,500, 1,400 got up in 15, 15 got up in 1,500, 1,400 got up in sold, $1,400, 1042, $1,400 to 1042. 50, 50, what about 650? 600 got up in 50, 50, what about 650? 600 got up in sold, $600 to number 1144, 1144 got that one. $150 to bidder 443. Divided up in now 50, 50, what about 350? 320 divided up in now 50, 50, what about 350? 320 divided up in now 50, 50, what about 350? Sold at $325, 1144, 1144. 1,500, 175 up in the sold at $175, 1153 online, 1153 got that one. 50, what about 850? 800 got up in now 50, 50, what about 850? Sold $800, 1116, 1116.
So the auction is starting to wind down, and Jerry and Cindy have just checked out, and they won some amazing items in the auction today. Jerry, what'd you get?
I got my Roy Rogers autographed lampshade, a nice Zuni inlay ring, and an 1800 sterling trade cross.
And Cindy, what did you get?
We got a Cecil Wakefield hand-carved statue. We got some baskets and a number of other things that we had our eye on from the beginning.
Now, was the auction just as amazing as what I told you guys it was going to be?
Yes, and better.
This was an amazing auction. Thank you.
Well, we are going to be seeing some of the highlights from the auction. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
He was really into these. I bet I've seen 15 or 20 of these already.
Nice.
Just loaded with them.
Yeah,
Well, if he wants to-
that'll be 30 or 40 swords.
If he wants to sell any of them, let me know. I'm really into knives and swords.